Riley Wilson was born well after the fall of civilization. He made his living by making and selling black powder. Ammo had dried up decades ago, and primers and percussion caps had disappeared a few years later. Flintlocks and blades were the most common form of protection, but Riley had an old cap and ball revolver, and he had a stash of toy caps, making him one of the most heavily armed men in the territory.
Move along, stranger.
Why, that looks like a toy gun.
Oh, it's real all right.
I don't believe you. I'm gonna call your bluff.
Real metallic caps work by having the hammer strike the cap, compressing the priming compound and causing a small ignition. The flame then travels down the hollow nipple until it contacts the main charge. The small flame then ignites the main charge, propelling the bullet forward. Caps for toy cap guns are similar, but the bodies are made of plastic, they have a less powerful compound, and they are capped by a paper disc. In the last test, I found that the Toymendous brand of toy caps to be hands down the most powerful toy caps I could get my hands on. We were able to get them to light off a black powder charge sometimes, but I wanted to see if I could get them to ignite a charge more reliably. When we went to the woods to film the intro skit, we needed to video the firing shot. I thought we would get the shot within a half dozen attempts, but when we got down to the last cap and no ignition, I decided to try a little trick, and we finally got the shot, but more on that later. My guess for why this didn't work this time is maybe after each unsuccessful attempt, the nipple got more and more clogged with little paper discs. This insulated the ignition flame from reaching the main powder charge. Before going to the range to try again, I removed the paper disc out of some of the caps. The simplest way to load these Civil War era revolvers is first to load a charge of black powder. Then load a lead ball. Next, ram the ball down the cylinder. And then seat a cap on top of the nipple. My theory for why that didn't work is maybe that paper disc provides some compression for the ignition, and without it, you get a weaker flame. But I don't know. What do y'all think? I was fairly confident that was going to work, but I did have a plan B. That was to fortify some of the caps with a smidgen of the devil's black pepper. The first shot was a success, but we got nothing after that. Now I had to resort to plan C, the trick I used for the intro skit. My thought was that a few granules of 3F down the nipple would shorten the distance the small ignition flame had to travel to reach the main charge. So I first tried feeding in some black powder through the nipple by hand, but that was difficult and felt dirty. So then I fed some in with a knife. Toy cap with no paper disc topped it off. That worked pretty well. We discovered making a flume was the ticket to funneling the 3F into the nipple. Now I want to try to see if I can get the chute with an unmodified cap. So, stuffed the nipple with 3F, capped it with a stock Toymendous cap, and boom! Well, unfortunately I mistimed the camera and did not get the footage. So let's try that again. Stuffed nipple, stock Toymendous cap. So it looks like stuffed nipples with Toymendous caps, with or without the paper disc, is the ticket for a reliable emergency setup.
Ah.